In this lesson, we'll learn to create an image based on our UV layout to aid in the creation of textures. So this is 09 begin. It's kind of just using that same little guy. And so when we think about a texture or an image based on our UV layout, what we're really thinking about is using it as some sort of a guide when creating textures. Now, if you're going to be taking your model and doing some 3D painting, ZBrush or Mudbox or in Blender, then you don't necessarily need to have the UV guide. But if you're going to be creating textures for your model in Photoshop, or even tweaking those textures or adding to those textures, then it'll be a good idea to have an image that is basically a view of your UV. So you know, okay, when I paint here, that's actually affecting the leg, or when I paint here, it's affecting the body. And so you know where the detail that you're creating is going to eventually be applied. So in order to create or export our UV layout, we'll just simply select the object there, select the UVs, and we're going to go to UVs. Let's go to Export UV Layout. This is going to bring up a dialog which will allow us to export out an image file. So we can change the format of this. So right now it's set to PNG, so we can leave it at that. We can change the size of it. So if we know that our eventual texture is going to be 2K, we can go ahead and set that here. And then we can choose the opacity. So I'm going to leave everything as is. And let's go ahead and export our UV layout. And I'll just call this test.png. Go ahead and export that out. Now let's open up Photoshop and see what that looks like. So now if we open this up, you can barely see those lines there. You may not even be able to see them with the compression, but let's go ahead and I'm going to add a new layer here and drag it underneath the layer that came in, and let's just add a color to that layer, and I'll fill it in. And so you can see that we get that guide over the top. So then if we were to come in, and start painting on this layer, you can kind of see where that detail is going to be located. And you can always go in and change the opacity of it. Really, all you need is just the faintest idea of what that is and where that's going to be. You don't need the full, fully opaque version of it. Even though with those settings we were able to get some transparency on that, there are still ways to kind of blend those together. And so we can come in and you can paint detail, go back and forth and kind of check, where is that going to be located. So I'm painting on the leg. I know when that's remapped onto the surface, that is going to appear in the correct spot. Okay, so that's Export UV Layout. And again, that can be found under UVs right at the top of the menu there. Okay, so that's the very basics of creating UVs inside of Blender. There's more you can do with those, but that's kind of the basic structure of being able to set up your UVs for texturing for those polygon models. So I hope you've had fun. I have as well. We'll see you next time.